They broke ground on the Grand Terrace, a big project to keep Honda Center one of the best arenas in the country. But are changes coming to the team inside? Hello everyone, I'm Tanya Lyon alongside Register beat writer Eric Stevens and special guest Curtis Zupke of the NHL.com. First up, the players are calling this road trip a do or die situation. How big, Eric, is this road trip? Could this determine who gets moved, who stays, who goes?
Oh, for sure. This is critical. They have to win. They have to win almost every game. But not only, like you said, it not only in terms of trying to get back into the playoff race, but also with the trade deadline coming right after that, it could very well determine what Bob Murray decides, what direction he's going to go in, and what players that he may have to consider trading whatsoever in terms of, and seeing what kind of value that he can get in return.
The trade deadline is coming up on the 27th, and we've already heard a number of rumors throughout the season, but names popping up right now are Wisniewski and Jason Blake. Curtis, what have you heard, and who do you expect could be dealt this year? I mean, I guess I'm assuming here that we all agree the Ducks could be sellers.
Yeah, I think Wisniewski and Blake are the two main guys that you want to look at. Blake, because he's a veteran and he can provide that veteran scoring for a contending team. And Wisniewski, because a lot of people are scared off because of his salary. He makes $5 million this year, but that drops down to $3 million next year. And he would be a logical piece for the Ducks to move. He's a good, obviously high-scoring, moves the puck type of defenseman, and a contender would want to have him.
The rumors earlier this year were, one of the top three, or even Solani. Do you think Wisniewski or Blake could garner the most interest, though?
I think so, because I think they'll be reasonable for teams to take on their salary, and their contract status will certainly factor into it. Jason Blake's deal is up at the end of the year. A team may only need to shell out maybe $800,000 to pick him up, and a veteran team, maybe a contending team that can use sort of an extra secondary scorer, won't have to shell out that much in order to add him. And the Ducks could get, if Jason's playing well or whatsoever, the Ducks could maybe get a reasonable, draft pick in return. But the key to that too there is that Bob Murray can sit back and he can wait, and he can have teams sort of bid against each other, and hopefully for his sake have the price driven up on them.
A lot of people were talking about Bobby Ryan, Ryan Getzlaf, and even Teemu Solani earlier this year. I mean, how likely, I guess, is that? Is that still a possibility, you think?
Well, Murray has already ruled out Solani. That was pretty predictable. Getzlaf has kind of been thrown out there, I think, mostly by the media. I personally don't think he's going to. I don't think Bob Murray is going to trade his captain. I think that would be very short-sighted. I mean, for a guy that you've determined to be a cornerstone of your franchise, I just don't see that happening. Bobby Ryan, I think, would be the most logical piece to move if he's going to make that type of move. He's been out there in the rumors before. He's a cinch 30, 40 goal scorer, and I think he's going to wait and see what he might get for him.
The key there is you got to get major value. Simply, you can't give away a player like Bobby Ryan, proven 30 goal scorer. You've got to get a lot in return for him, and I think that's what Bob is really weighing. Right now, in terms of what he could get. Personally, I think that it's doubtful that he'll be shipped out unless he gets blown away by the right offer.
All right, and so I guess finally is, where do the Ducks go from here? I mean, do you believe that they have a chance to make the playoffs? Or do you kind of feel like the season might be lost because 3-month slide is too much to overcome?
I think it's very slim, even in this instance. And I think Bob's already got an eye on next year anyway. But I think if anything, this trip, if they have a winning trip, even if it does not end in, say, a playoff berth down the line, this may give them the sense that this was the Ducks team that should have been, that we should have seen from the get-go all along. And if they can put together a second half run, even if they wind up short or whatsoever, that could impact the decisions on next year and whether Bob feels like this is the core that he can win with next season.
And Curtis, I'll leave it with you. Who needs to step up on this road trip then? Is there anybody in particular that needs to come up big if the Ducks have a hope?
Well, it's that old cliche, your best players have to be your best players. The top line of Ryan, Getzlaf, and Perry, they've kind of been scoreless here the past 4 or 5 games, but they've been doing other things pretty well. And I think those are the guys that are going to lead this team, on this trip if they're going to have a successful trip.
All right, that's it. We'll see you guys next time.